I asked ChatGPT to give me some sarcastic responses to some common imperialist talking points. We brought civilization to Africa. Oh, thank you so much for teaching us how to steal land, commit genocide, and then call it progress. Truly groundbreaking. Colonialism was good for Africa. Look at the roads and railways we built. Yeah, nothing says generosity like building highways straight to the mines so you could ship out the wealth faster. Very thoughtful. If it weren't for Europe, Africa would still be living in huts. Right, because pyramids, Great Zimbabwe, Timbuktu libraries, and kingdoms that traded globally were obviously just huts. We gave you education. Totally, teaching people to hate themselves in English was such a kind gift. We abolished slavery. Oh yes, after running it for centuries and making trillions, you finally stopped. Bravo! Nobel Prize level sacrifice. You should be grateful. We brought Christianity. Of course, because what's better than replacing thousands of years of spiritual traditions with a religion used to justify your conquest? We discovered Africa. Ah yes, just like we discovered America, while millions of people are already living there. Must be nice to have magic eyes. Africa is poor because Africans can't govern themselves. Naturally. It couldn't possibly have anything to do with 500 years of looting, death traps, and puppet governments. Nope, just Africans being Africans. We brought law and order. Oh yes, the law of your land is mine and the order of obey or die. Very civilized indeed. Without us, you'd have no modern economy. You mean the economy where you stole resources, paid nothing, and still send the profits home? Truly inspirational. We ended tribal wars. Right, by starting world wars instead. Much more efficient bloodshed. Thanks. Colonialism wasn't all bad. True, smallpox blankets were a generous gift. We discovered diamonds and gold. Oh yes, because Africans were just decorating their huts with shiny rocks until you came to show us value. We gave you technology. Of course. Machine guns, concentration camps, and tax systems designed for robbery, cutting-edge stuff. We invested in Africa. Sure, like how a burglar invests in your house by upgrading the locks after he's stolen everything. We left you independent. What more do you want? A refund. With interest. Stop blaming the past. Move on. Absolutely, because the past totally stopped when you left. Those banks, corporations, and borders you drew are just imaginary, right? At least we gave you democracy. Nothing says democracy like overthrowing leaders you didn't like and handpicking dictators for us. Well done.
I stumbled on the video of a guy who said that he asked ChatGPT what the imperialists did and how they operated on countries that have natural resources that are very wealthy. Of course, it's Africa. So, and this is exactly what ChatGPT said, even though it sounds funny, but that is how ChatGPT actually exposed their operation, how they used to operate. They will say, this is what they're giving you, but in return, this is what they are getting. And that's exactly what ChatGPT said. And this guy did a very good job, and I'm giving credit to him and every other content that I'm using in this on this video. So let's go watch it, and I'll be right back so that we can discuss and the conversation can begin. But do me a favor, make sure you watch the end so you can know exactly what was said and how you can be able to react to it, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying tuned. And if today is the first time I've come across my channel, do it to subscribe, like, and share, and give the video a thumbs up, okay? Don't go nowhere, I'll be right back.
That I don't like the word colonialism because it evades what it really was. It was plunder, theft, and killing of people. You know, we use this word very carefully. But actually,
and was it planned?
It was planned. It was planned plunder, theft, and planned plunder, theft, and extraction of things. I mean, a bunch of people met, white men met in 1894.
White men?
Yeah, in Berlin. And they decided, okay, we're going to come to this place called Africa and we're going to divide it up for ourselves. But what is interesting about this conversation about extraction is that, and I usually think about it, is that before 1915, the history of, it wasn't Kenya then, because Kenya became a colony in 1920, but we see men and women in leadership roles. You know, we see Meketli Wamenza fighting for the Giriama. In the Congo, we see the Queen of the Congo, you know, fighting off imperialists. But something in Kenya in particular, after 1915, it's almost as if women disappear. And you wonder what happens.
They didn't want Africa's population to grow. This is an interesting one because they feared what Africa might become. In 1974, the USA government wrote a classified report called the NSSM 200, also known as the Kissinger Report. It laid out a strategy for controlling population, growing in developing nations. But here's what they didn't say out loud. It wasn't about global health or poverty. It was about resources, oil, minerals, access, control. The report specifically named 13 countries they feared would grow too fast. One stood out, Nigeria, the only African country on the list. Why? Because a powerful, growing African population could challenge USA interests. They feared young, rising populations could lead to uprisings, nationalism, or governments that might say, no more cheap deals, no more stolen resources. The Kissinger report warned that the USA needed to control these populations, not directly, but by funding local family planning initiatives. The language was very careful, voluntary, known coercive, but the goal, keep Africa's population in check, to keep Western access to African wealth in place. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's declassified USA foreign policy. And if you've ever wondered why African nations rich in oil and gold still struggle with poverty, maybe the real issue wasn't overpopulation. Maybe it was over-manipulation. This is the Africa they plan to silence. But I'm here to show you.
Why is nobody talking about this? Ever since I came to Africa, many Africans have come to me and said, they will pay me thousands of dollars for me to help them to go to Europe. I haven't helped a single person, and I'm not going to do that. Ask yourself, why, if Europe is so fantastic, why am I then in Africa? Does that make sense? If my own place is so fantastic, why would I be here? Now, you are ready to pay me thousands of dollars for you to go and work hard in Europe, for you to help Europe get back on track. Why won't you stay in Africa and make Africa get on track? It doesn't make sense. You're an African, so why don't you want to help your own continent to grow and prosper, but you want to go to my continent and make that prosper? It doesn't make sense. If you have thousands of dollars that you want to give me for me to help you to go there, spend those thousands of dollars to set up a business here in Africa. And if you need help with that one, I'm willing to help you, but I will never help you to go to Europe and suffer.
This is exactly what they do and how they do it. You know, when they go to regions of the earth, I mean, virtually everybody and everywhere has been colonized by one person or the other, and the modus operandi is always this. They will say, oh, we are giving you church, but behind the church, something else is going on. Or we are giving you democracy, but behind the democracy, something else is going on. Or we are giving you this freedom of speech. Behind the freedom of speech, something else is going on. That has been the operation. If you don't know, please know this is how they operate. And it's so sad because the people that are the receiving end are the black folks, the black nations of the earth, the black God's chosen people that are gifted with natural resources, with a lot of things. So they are the ones that actually are the receiving end, and that has always been their modus operandi. But the funny thing is this: uh, the African nation up until now are still going through that. They'll tell you we give democracy, but in the long run, they'll put someone there for you that they can, a puppet that they can control, that they can rule indirectly. We call it indirect rule. They rule your country indirectly by putting the guy there who will listen to their dictate, their command, everything, and they carry out the operation. And up until now, a lot of African countries are still going through that, and that is what ChatGPT exposed. If ChatGPT can say this, then you know that it is real. I always say something. I said, whatever ChatGPT is saying is what is in the public space. It is in the public space, and ChatGPT, as an instrument, it goes online and brings garner those information, and it delivers to you based on what you ask. Whatever ChatGPT is saying is not what he has in his store bank. No, it is what is obtainable in the air. It goes around because that's the job. It goes, gathers information, and it gives to you. And it's simply put, this is what is happening, what was planned, what was orchestrated, the way they operate, and ChatGPT will bring everything down and it gives to you. So you can't say that ChatGPT doesn't know what it's doing. No, ChatGPT knows. It knows, and that is why it's saying that. And the saddest thing is that it's still happening. And hopefully, the countries, especially the African country, they will be liberated soon, and they will come into their full potential, and they stop being used by those guys, and they stop being gullible. Because at the long run, the people that are paying the ultimate sacrifice are the people that is in those regions, those places. They are the one that is paying. They pay with school not having adequate school. They pay by not having sufficient and well-structured hospital. You see that they don't have the best. Their leaders to go outside of the country to go and do treatment, and they pay those high fees to those countries, while in their country they can't put up even a good hospital, a good facilities that can even take care of them themselves. It is deliberate. They don't want to work because they have the money to go outside and pay homage to their masters who puts them there, while the people, like I said, they are the one that will pay the ultimate sacrifice. You see the rate at which things are going in Africa. It is because those guys have refused to liberate themselves. The puppets that they put there, and they rule according to the dictate of their masters. And ChatGPT just exposed everything. Guys, what do you think about this? I want your views and your perception concerning this. This is the part of exposing the evil works done by them, and we need to expose it. We need to speak about it. We need to let people know that this is how they operate, and the Gen Zs, the younger generation, should be aware, so that when they get into power, they won't fall for the same tactics, the same gimmicks that is being done or used by them every now and then. Thank you guys for watching. I wish your response, your views at the comment section, because it is time for us to speak about this and speak so that the world can hear, and the change that we desire can eventually come. This is for educational purpose. This is for enlightenment. And that is what it is. Thank you. Bye-bye.